भी बच्चा एग्जाम देने, खाने पीने रहने तक की अरेंजमेंट्स भी अनिल यादव सर ने कोविड ड्यूरेशन में की है। तो गाइस आप खुद समझिए कि आप लोग कितने सेफ हैंड्स के, कितने सेफ लीडर के हाथ में अभी अपने पास सिकासा चेयरमैनशिप है, और जिसके लिए हम लोग एडमायर कर सकते हैं अनिल यादव सर को। फॉर दिस CRET पर्पस आई जस्ट वांट टू से कि अभी कुछ दिन पहले मतलब ऑन संडे अनिल यादव सर और जयपुर टीम के गाइडेंस के अंदर एक CRET पे सेमिनार हुआ था, जिसमें वाइस प्रेसिडेंट सर खुद वहाँ पे थे, अपने बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज के चेयरमैन वहाँ पे थे। उन लोगों ने बहुत क्लियर लैंग्वेज में क्लियर लाउड मैसेज दिया था कि किस तरीके से CRET को डिजाइन किया गया है, किस तरीके से इंस्टीट्यूट आगे अपना प्रोस्पेक्ट देख रहा है, क्या उनका विजन है। एंड ट्रस्ट मी गाइस, इससे बढ़िया इंस्टीट्यूट क्या मिलेगा हमको, जो इंस्टीट्यूट खुद कह रहा है कि आप हमारे को सजेशंस दीजिए। नॉट ओनली स्टूडेंट्स, दे आर आस्किंग फॉर फ्रॉम द चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स, दे आर आस्किंग फ्रॉम द ट्यूटर्स, दे आर आस्किंग फ्रॉम द यूनिवर्सिटीज। कितनी सारी परमिशंस लेनी पड़ती है, कितने सारे सबके थॉट्स को वो रेस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं, एंड देन ओनली दे आर सपोज टू डिसाइड द CRET प्रोसीजर्स। ऑल्सो इतना क्लियर लाउड मैसेज था पीओएस चेयरमैन का, बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीज के चेयरमैन का, कि अभी भी आप लोग नहीं जवाब देते हो तो यू आर द ओनली पर्सन रेस्पॉन्सिबल जो अपना रेस्पॉन्स नहीं दे रहा और फिर बाद में कोई काम कर रहा है तो उसको रेस्ट्रिक्ट कर रहे हैं। तो मैं आप लोगों से एक ही रिक्वेस्ट करने चाह रहा हूँ कि आज अनिल यादव सर हमारे साथ में है, हम लोग जैसा कोई भी आज जैसा आलोक जी हमारे को बताने वाले हैं, पूरा डिटेल में समझाएंगे कि CRET के अंदर हो क्या रहा है, आर्टिकलशिप को कैसे मॉडिफाई किया है, नए सब्जेक्ट्स कौन से जुड़ रहे हैं, फिलोसफी, साइकोलॉजी, ऐसे ऐसे सब्जेक्ट्स भी हम लोग यहाँ पे ले रहे हैं। तो विदाउट टेकिंग मच ऑफ टाइम आई जस्ट वांट कि आलोक सेठी जी हम अपनों को पूरा डिटेल में समझाएंगे। एंड आई जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट अनिल यादव जी कि सर अपने बिल्कुल शेयर करें बच्चों से, पहले उनका माइंडसेट एकदम क्लियर करें, एंड देन वी विल डेफिनेटली हैव सम फीडबैक फ्रॉम देम। थैंक यू, ओवर टू यू।
Thank you so much, Mohit ji. A very good afternoon to all of you. मोहित भाई मेरे छोटे भाई हैं, चेयरमैन किशनगढ़ ब्रांच। आर्यन जी हमारे पास है नहीं अभी, आर्यन जी कहीं बिजी हैं, इधर बिजी विद जो CEDs आ रहे हैं उसके प्रोग्राम्स के लिए। चेयरपर्सन दिव्या सोमानी जी, सेक्रेटरी अगेन मेरे छोटे भाई अंशु जी, अखिलेश जी चेयरमैन सिकासा किशनगढ़, आलोक जी और हमारा, मैं जब चेयरमैन था जब से हम टच में, हम एक साथ ही कमेटी के अंदर वर्क करते थे साथ साथ, एंड ऑल द स्टूडेंट प्रेजेंट हियर। वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून ऑल ऑफ यू। जो नया जो कोर्स आ रहा है, बहुत कंफ्यूजन है, बहुत कॉल है, आपके माइंड में बहुत सारी क्वेरीज चल रही है। आपकी जो भी क्वेरीज है, जो भी आपको लगता है कि सर इसमें क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा, तो दो चीजें मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा। फर्स्ट इज द प्रपोज स्कीम। ये प्रपोज है, अभी फाइनल नहीं है। 30th जून इज द लास्ट डेट फॉर सबमिटिंग योर फीडबैक फॉर्म। आप 30th जून तक अपनी फीडबैक फॉर्म भरेंगे। आपको लगता है सर इसमें ये चेंज होना चाहिए, आपको लगता है सर हमारा स्टाइफंड बढ़ना चाहिए, आपको लगता है सर हमारी छुट्टी बढ़नी चाहिए, जो भी आपको लगता है एज ए स्टूडेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आपको जो भी चीज माइंड के अंदर रखती है कि सर, मैं कई बार देखता हूं जब मैं ट्विटर पे रहता हूं या कहीं और रहता हूं तो बच्चों का ये रहता है सर स्टाइफंड नहीं पड़ता है, हमारा ये नहीं पड़ता है। तो मौका दिया है ना ICAI ने आपको लिखने का, सही प्लेटफॉर्म पे आप उसको उठाओ। अगर आपको लगता है सर ये चीजें माइनस है या ये चीजें और अच्छी होनी चाहिए, तो प्लीज आप लोग फीडबैक फॉर्म भरें, उसमें आप लिखें कि हमारा जो फर्स्ट ईयर में इतना स्टाइफंड होना चाहिए, सेकंड ईयर में इतना होना चाहिए, थर्ड ईयर में इतना होना चाहिए। हमारी जो लीव्स हैं, अभी आपने जो भी लीव प्रपोज है वो 12 लीव हैं, बाकी और आलोक जी बताएंगे। तो लीव सब ज्यादा होनी चाहिए, बिकॉज हमें बीकॉम के एग्जाम भी देने हैं, बिकॉज हमें साथ में और प्रोफेशनल एग्जाम भी देने हैं, बिकॉज हम बीमार भी हो सकते हैं, बिकॉज हमें सिक लीव भी, आप अलग से कुछ भी प्रोविजन करो जो भी आपको लगता है, क्योंकि एक बार जो फाइनल हो गया वो फाइनल हो गया। तो आपको सिर्फ अपने लिए नहीं कि आपको लगता है सर मेरी आर्टिकलशिप तो कंप्लीट हो गई, मुझे नहीं, आने वाले जो बच्चे हैं, आने वाले जो फ्यूचर है, उनके लिए भी आपको फीडबैक फॉर्म भरना पड़ेगा। और फीडबैक फॉर्म में कहीं ऐसा कोई इतना कोई वो नहीं है कि आपको भरने प्रॉब्लम हो। मोबाइल है सभी बच्चों के पास के अंदर, मोबाइल, एक बार मोबाइल उठाओ सब अपना अपना ना, मोबाइल आप उठाओ और मोबाइल में सिर्फ टाइप करो BOSCRET.ICAI@the BOS टाइप करो, टाइप। बच्चे एक बार सर, एक बार अखिलेश जी आप ब्रांच में ही है, ब्रांच में कौन है अभी? आलोक जी आप ब्रांच में ना, एक बार बच्चों से मोबाइल के ऊपर उसको खुलवाओ सर, बच्चे एक बार देख लेंगे फीडबैक फॉर्म है कहाँ पे।
श्योर सर।
है ना, BOS की एक बार साइड खुलवा दो इनसे। मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूं, BOS हमारा हो गया, देन CRET साथ के अंदर BOSCRET.ICAI@the.org।
सर .org है।
.org सॉरी यार।
वैसे सर गूगल पे बॉस क्रेट लिखने से भी सर्च हो जाएगा डायरेक्ट।
हाँ मतलब बच्चों, हाँ ये देखो पंकज जी के मोबाइल क्या है, पंकज जी के यहाँ से जो दिख रहा है मुझे, यस बच्चों ये फॉर्म मिला, खुल गया सबका। तो ये फॉर्म आपको देखना है और इस फॉर्म के अंदर जैसे जैसे सर बताएं, आलोक जी देखो शेयर कर रहे हैं फॉर्म को। आलोक जी
सब शेयर द स्क्रीन एंड नाउ
आलोक जी ने स्क्रीन शेयर कर दिया। तो बच्चों जैसे जैसे आप स्क्रीन पढ़े और आप आपका जो मोबाइल है उसको खोल के रखे, जहां आपको लगता है कि फाउंडेशन का कोर्स जो हमें आलोक जी ने बताया यहाँ ये चेंजेस होने चाहिए, इंटरमीडिएट कोर्स का बताया, ये देखो ये आपका फॉर्म खुल जाएगा, नेम आप भर के रखें। जिस भी जगह आपको लगता है यहाँ चेंजेस होना चाहिए वहां बिल्कुल चेंजेस करें, अपडेट करें। ये फॉर्म आपको सबको भरना है और बिल्कुल ठीक है। अच्छा और आपको बच्चों एक चीज और, चलो एक मैं आपको लगता है कि सर मैं लिखूंगा और कुछ हो जाएगा, कहेंगे कि स्टाइफन आप क्यों मांगना चाह रहे हो, कोई क्वेरी नहीं पूछेगा, कोई कुछ नहीं पूछेगा। आप फॉर्म जरूर भरें, फीडबैक फॉर्म जरूर अपडेट करें, लेकिन किसी से रिलेटेड आपकी कोई भी क्वेरी है तो आलोक जी उसका रिप्लाई करेंगे। इन केस कुछ क्वेश्चंस अभी ऐसे हैं जो चेंजेस वाले हैं, कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स ऐसी हैं कि सर जैसे हम ओल्ड कोर्स से हैं न्यू कोर्स पे कैसे जाएंगे, या आर्टिकल ये हमारी स्टार्ट हो गई है या बीच में स्टार्ट होगी, उसकी एसओपी आगे आएंगी। और फिर भी कुछ क्वेरी रहती है तो आप आलोक जी से, हमारे अंशु जी हैं, अखिलेश जी हैं, किसी को भी आप बता सकते हैं। तो वी विल, हम उसको जो भी होगा कंसिडर करके आपको रिप्लाई करेंगे। लेकिन आप पूरा ढंग से सुने, आराम से सुने, जो भी आपकी क्वेरी आती है बिल्कुल आप पूछें, और फिर भी कहीं आपको कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स है तो एनी टाइम आप मुझे कॉल कर सकते हैं। वी आर ऑलवेज अवेलेबल फॉर यू। अब ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लूंगा। नाउ आई रिक्वेस्ट आलोक जी प्लीज आप अपना सेशन स्टार्ट करें। थैंक यू सो मच अजमेर ब्रांच एंड किशनगढ़ ब्रांच फॉर सच ए नाइस प्रोग्राम। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच।
थैंक यू सर
अनिल जी।
अब मैं आलोक सर से निवेदन करूंगा कि इन्होंने हमारे छोटे से एक निवेदन पे प्रोग्राम को मतलब तैयार करके इन्होंने कहा कि ठीक है ये इनिशिएटिव अपन लेते हैं, और इन्होंने हमारे एक दिन का एक छोटा सा समय दिया इनको हमने सर को कि भाई ये प्रोग्राम आपको करना है, तो और सर ने तुरंत हाँ की, उसके लिए सर को धन्यवाद। अब मैं आलोक सर से निवेदन करूंगा, सर आप अपना प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट। थैंक यू।
Good afternoon to all. Thank you, Anshul ji, Secretary Ajmer Branch, and Aryan ji, Chairman Ajmer Branch. Guest of honor today we have Anil Kumar ji Yadav, RCM, Sikasa Chairman of CIRC, and also my dear friend Mohit Jain from Kishangarh Branch, and Akhilesh ji, Secretary Kishangarh Branch. First thing that is always there is that there is nothing permanent except change. चेंज ऐसी प्रक्रिया है जो हमेशा लगातार होती आई है, और जब जब भी परिवर्तन हुआ है, चेंज हुआ है, थिंग्स हैव बिकम एक्सपोनेंशियल. चेंज हैज द पावर टू ब्रिंग इन प्रॉस्पेरिटी एंड ग्रेट थिंग्स टू द वर्ल्ड. नाउ keeping this thing in view, the institute has also come up with the course, with the revision of the course, and this CRET, we have been talking about CRET, but let me just start with this thing. I'll share my screen. And first of all, we understand what is CRET, what does CRET stands for. So this is the proposed scheme, and you will see that we'll be talking about key highlights, some subject changes, papers which have been done in the papers, then admissions and examination pattern, other aspects, and then definitely would like to have your comments and feedback on the proposed scheme. So CRET stands for the Committee for Review of Education and Training. So it was established in the year 1975 when the Review Committee for Accounting Education was set up, which submitted its report in 1978. And you can see that the CRET has been functional in the last occasions from the year 75 to 78, 3 years. Then again in the year 85 to 88, then 95 to 98, 2004, 2008, and latest 2013 and 2017. So change is required. And I would like to quote here very famous quote by Mahatma Gandhi ji said, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." So आपको वो change बनना है. You have to acknowledge the change and give us the feedback of the proposed. It is a proposed scheme as mentioned by Anil sir. We have just proposed something. और जैसे फाइनेंस बिल पास होता है, फाइनेंस एक्ट बनता है, उससे पहले एक प्रपोजल आता है, दोनों हाउस ऑफ पार्लियामेंट में पास होता है, उसके बाद इट बिकम्स एन एक्ट फॉर द होल country. Similarly, institute is very proactive in bringing about a change, but it is very diligent and grateful also, so as to ask for the opinion from the students and the stakeholders, various stakeholders, not only the students, but the members and the members from different professions like CA, CMA, CS, even Ministry of Corporate Affairs and various departments. This form has been circulated everywhere so that all the stakeholders who are associated with the institute give us their opinion, their feedback on the proposed scheme. So CRET has been constituted after a time span of approximately 9 to 10 years. The revised scheme of education training generally launched within approximately 3 years from the constitution of CRET. So CRET does a research, they come up with the latest things, and then they come up with the proposed scheme. The Council in March 2021 accorded approval for formation of CRET at an earlier point in time, that is after 7 years, primarily due to the following factors. Now, what were the factors that led to the step which has taken by the institute about forming this CRET and coming with the proposed scheme? So the first thing was need to make the curriculum globally relevant consequent to launch of international curriculum. Now, we all know that CAs are no longer local. They are becoming global. So we are not restricted to the territory or to the boundaries of India. We can serve anywhere sitting at our own place. That is in India, sitting at our own office, we can serve to any client from anywhere in the world. And all the biggest organizations, Big Fours, as you say, they are all run by Indian chartered accountants. And many CA are doing wonderful job. And it is because of the technological developments and the academic developments that the institute is doing for the members and the institute and the students. Because of that, the students and the members are reaching to the global economy and the players, and they are contributing to it. Then the second requirement was the change necessitated due to implementation of National Education Policy 2020. So even the government of India have revised their education policy. So in light of the policy, we have also revised the course structure to make it in line with the proposed scheme. Additional emphasis on ethics and information technology, integrating with all core subjects at final level. So ethics are important because it is the pillar on which the building of any professional is standing. If you're not ethical in your approach, then you'll not be able to sustain a longer duration. So ethics are important, and similarly at the same time, what is important is the role of information technology. As this seminar, that webinar which you are attending, it is happening virtually. So there are live students who are attending physically, and there are many participants who can attend this from the whole of India. So this is possible only through the technology. So the members and the CA students should be accustomed to the latest technology so that they can bring out their best. And then the diversified role of chartered accountant. As I mentioned earlier also, now the CAs are no longer restricted to doing their practice or working with the local companies. They are doing much more than that, and now the CAs can work globally. But to work globally, you should have that kind of aura or the skills or the skill set and the kind of qualification that is required to be working in a global atmosphere. So what is the modus operandi and the focus areas of the institute of the CRET while they form this scheme? So let us just have a background look at it, and then we'll talk about the scheme and the proposed changes which the institute has done. So first is identification of areas to be addressed in the new scheme of education and training. So every time something new is coming up, 2017 was the year which marked the presence of GST and demonetization. And we all see that after the introduction of these two things, things have drastically changed and have been changing and evolving. Similarly, new areas have to be identified. After that, we have seen the COVID era also. In COVID, after demonetization, physical things went to digital. The payment system also changed from physical to digital. Similarly, in the COVID area, all the work which were happening physically, it came to the digital platform. So there is always a requirement to understand what is the new technology, what is the new thing that is coming up, and adopt ourselves to be able to render our services in the best possible manner. Then requirement under international education standards. Since now we have to compete globally, so we have to check out the international standards also. Study and incorporation of significant features of national education policy. So we are working with the government. So in line with the education policy, the institute has set up its revised course structure. Then best practices of schemes of education and training of international accountancy bodies. So this Congress of International Accountant is happening, and it is happening in India now, in Mumbai. So global accountants come and then they sit with the chartered accountants in India, and we are no less than any other accounting profession. But to be able to compete with them, we should be having the knowledge and the skill set where we can stand in along with them, right? Incorporation, analysis of probable impact of changes in curriculum on current MRA or MOU with international accounting bodies. So MOU we all understand is Memorandum of Understanding, and MRA is recognition, mutual recognition agreement, which we have with multiple countries and multiple organizations or institutes across the various countries. Like when a CA goes to Canada or Australia and they want to work over there, then when they apply for any other course there, like CPA, then some papers are exempt because they are qualified chartered accountants. So that is the recognition that a chartered accountant gets internationally. And that is happened because of the various MOUs that the institute has entered into with the various institutes across the globe. Then incorporation of suggestions and emerging out of discussion at high-level meetings of group of CRET. Because the president of the institute and the CRET committee members, they are in constant touch with the government professionals and the accounting bodies, so they know what is happening globally. And with their input, they can sense what is coming in the next, what is coming up next. So accordingly, they have drafted this. Now, what is the important focus areas identified for way forward? First is requirement for change in manner of learning. See, after COVID, three things have become important: learning, relearning, and unlearning. So you have to learn, you have to keep learning, then you have to relearn. The things which we have studied, we forget once we don't revise. So we have to relearn. And then you have to unlearn also. Why unlearn? Because the law keeps on changing. Some acts repeal, they become outdated. So whatever you have learned, you have seen in GST. कोई रूल आता है उससे समझते हैं और जब अप्लाई करते हैं उससे पहले ही वो रूल चेंज हो जाता है. So it has become a common thing nowadays. So you have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Owning of interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills are the skills, soft skills, which are required when you communicate with people. So how you should communicate with your colleagues, how you should communicate with your boss, how you should communicate with your clients. so that they get your message properly and you are able to get business from there and you can work effectively. The duration of the course was also a concern and it has been addressed in this proposed scheme. Internationalization of the CA course. So those who will be becoming chartered accountants, they will be not restricted to India, but they will be global accountants. So CA will be GA now, chartered accountant, and you can say I'm a global accountant. Futuristic outlook in the scheme of education. When we talk about the scheme, you will see that the futuristic outlook is there and the committee has seen the future and they have drafted the scheme accordingly. High degree of industry orientation. So industrial in the practical training for 3 years that we have in the current scheme of education. 1 year you can do 12 months, you can have your industrial training also. So you get to see the exposure which you can get once you qualify as a chartered accountant in the industry. Same thing is there in this course also. Then integration of ethics and intermittent success route. That means you stop, then you start, then you stop, then you start, and gradually you reach to your goal. Now, let us see how this whole structure will look like. And let me just zoom in a little bit. Register for foundation course after passing 10, registration valid for 4 years. So anyone who has appeared for class 10 and was decided to take on commerce can go for the registration. And the registration will be valid for 4 years. In the present scheme, there is no limitation as to the registration. The registration is valid for lifetime. But now, once you have registered for the foundation course, the registration will remain valid for 4 years. And if you're not able to clear a foundation, then you have to re-register again. After that, appear for foundation examination after appearing for 10+2 examination and completion of 4 months from registration. That means there is a gap of there should be a gap of 4 months after you have appeared for your 10+2 and the examination. So passing marks is 50% in each paper. So there is a change here. Earlier, there was a 40% percentage passing marks. They have raised it to 10%. So how you are taking it? 50% or 40%? What was comfortable? 40. So 50 seems difficult. But let me tell you one thing, that the institute will never lower its standard to accommodate you all. The institute will never lower its standards to accommodate the students. You will have to raise your standards to fit in. And that is why this 40% is being raised to 50%, so that at the entry stage itself, entry stage pe, everyone is aware of that this course, which is the toughest course in the world, is really tough and you have to work hard. Then register for intermediate course after passing foundation examination, graduate or postgraduate with requisite marks. Registration valid for 5 years plus 5 years with revalidation. So when it comes to CA intermediate, there are 2 options. One, you can go through the foundation route. You clear your foundation and then you can register for CA Inter. That registration remains valid for 5 years, and then you can revalidate it again for a period of 5 years. And those who are coming from direct entry route, here the qualification is graduate or a postgraduate with a minimum percentage of 55 and 60 that we'll see in the later slides. So once you have registered for intermediate course, registration for intermediate course would also be treated as registered for business accounting associate. Now it is a new term, BAA, business accounting associate, but it is similar to what you know as accounting technician. So the person who is able to clear inter one group and not able to clear the another group, and they don't want to continue with CA final, not able to, then they can register for this ATC course, accounting technician. So now this has been reworded and now it is being retreated as business accounting associate. appear for intermediate examination, 6 papers, 2 groups after completion of study period of 8 months, passing marks 40% in each paper and 50% in each group. Right? So you have to appear, you have to register for your CA intermediate, you have to wait for 8 months, and then you can appear for your examination. The passing criteria is same, 40% in each paper and 50% in aggregate. Now you will see a change here. Pass both groups of intermediate examination, complete integrated course on information technology and soft skills, and commence articles. So unlike the current scenario, wherein you can start your articleship after clearing only a single group and completing your soft skill courses, now a candidate would be required to clear both the groups of CA Inter so as to be eligible to appear to start their practical training. Register for final course and registration valid for 10 years, which can be revalidated after every 10 years. So once you register for CA intermediate and you appear for the exams, you can register for your CA final. That will be remain valid for 10 years. So inter for 5 years and final for 10 years. Articleship period will be 2 years, of which 2 years, second year can be for industrial training. Eligible leave 24 days for 2 years. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. So the khushi is that the articleship period has been reduced to 2 years. 3 साल की जगह 2 साल ही articleship करना है. That period has reduced. But what have reduced is the number of leaves that one can take, and it is 24 days in 2 years, right? And you can start your industrial training in the second year. Yeah, now, so in the proposed scheme, they have just mentioned that 24 days in 2 years. Now it is up to a candidate how he wants to avail the leave. If you have not taken, if you have taken only 4 days in the first year, then you will be able to take 20 days in the second year, like that. And if you consume your 24 days in the first year itself, in the next year there will be no leaves. Okay. Undergo advanced integrated course on information technology and software skill course. Pass self-paced online modules and complete articleship before appearing in CA final examination. Now it is a welcome move by the institute, and they have brought in 2 important changes here. Now, before appearing for final examination, you have to do 2 things. That is, complete your 2 years of articleship training and pass the self-paced online modules. What are these? That we'll talk later on. But apart from your intermediate exams and the online soft courses, soft skill courses, you have to clear the self-paced course also along with your articleship. So it is a 2-way learning. You are learning practically by going to your principal, and you are learning by studying at home also. Appear for final examination, 6 papers, 2 groups after and completion of 6 months from the end of articleship period. Passing marks 40% in each paper and 50% in each group. So it remains same. You can appear for your finals after 6 months from the end of the articleship period. If unsuccessful, apply for business accounting associate. So if you're not successful at final examination, you can apply for business accounting associate. As registering for CA Inter, you will be treated as registered for business accounting associate. So you can take that qualification also if you're not able to clear for CA final. A candidate getting exemption in any paper will need to pass the remaining papers within the next 3 attempts. So your exemption will remain valid for next 3 attempts. The exemption can be availed further subject to passing marks for 50% in each paper. I repeat, the exemption can be availed further subject to passing marks of 50% in each paper. That means the extra marks that you get in the exemption will not be accommodated to the remaining papers. You have to get 50% in the remaining 3 papers so as to clear the group. Pass both the groups of final examination and apply for ICAI membership. To apply for certificate of practice, undergo 1 year of work experience under a fellow chartered accountant in practice. So currently in present, one can apply for certificate of membership as well as COP immediately as the criteria is fulfilled. That is, you have completed your articleship and you've done all your certifications, your soft skill courses, and you've cleared both the groups of CA final. You can get the certificate of practice as well as the certificate of membership at the same time. Now the institute wants you to work under a fellow chartered accountant. Who is a fellow chartered accountant? Who has completed 10 years of practice. So he's an experienced, he's a seasoned chartered accountant. So you have to learn how to work under him, as how to practice. Because when you are doing your articleship, you just get to follow the instructions which you get from your principal. But when you are working when you are practicing as a professional, you have to take your own decisions. And it's not that easy. So the institute wants you to get 1 year of experience under a CA who is into practice, learn the intricacies of the CA practice, and then you can apply for your COP. So all good so far. Now we'll see a comparison in the time duration that is there in the proposed scheme and in the current scheme. So total number of days of training earlier, currently it is 3 years and 365 days. To rural, a student has to work for 1095 days. In the proposed scheme, it is only 2 years and 365. So it is 730. That is the gross, like number of days. Now leaves permitted. Currently you are permitted 1/7 of the leave. So 1095 into 1/7, it comes to 156. So 156 days can be availed of as a leave in 3 years. In the proposed scheme, the leaves granted to a student is 12 per year. That means 24 leaves in total. Number of Sundays are 52. So in the current year, you have 156 Sundays for 3 years. And in 2 years, you'll have only 104 Sundays. Number of gazetted holidays we are taking as 15 in a year. So for 3 years, it will be 45. In 2 years, it will be 30. So effective days of training comes out to be 708 in case of existing scheme. And in the proposed scheme, it will be 572. So practically you will be working for 572 days out of 730 days in 2 years. So the difference between the period of training under current and proposed scheme is 136 days. That is 708 minus 752. Now advanced ITT and MCS can be done after completion of training under the proposed scheme. So once you complete your training for 2 years, then you will be able to do your advanced MCS and advanced ITT. Okay. Okay. Now focus and seamless training is being introduced under the proposed scheme as the students will be enrolling for the training after completion of intermediate course. So you have to complete your course and then you can enroll for the training. So what happens now is if a candidate has cleared only one group and they immediately start their training and now they have to appear for the other group. So after 2 months or 3 months going for work, you ask for leaves, chutti. So there is a gap in the learning. And what happens is your exam, suppose you have cleared in May group, May attempt, and your next attempt is in November. So your results are declared somewhere in July. So you join your articleship in July, you go for August and September, or maybe in mid of September, you start asking for leaves. And that is a crucial time of tax audits. So there is a problem with the principal also, because you'll be lack of staff, and you will also have problem because you'll not be able to learn. But your priority is passing the exam first. So to cater this problem, what the institute has done is you complete your training first, and then you appear for the examination. Then you complete your examination first, you clear both your groups, and then you can start your practical training. So there will be no jamela of any leaves in between. Students will be appearing. So in case in the current scheme, student can commence training after passing either of the groups of intermediate course. In case of students being unsuccessful at the intermediate exam, more preparatory leaves are availed. So that is the reason why they have changed this scheme. Students will be appearing the final examination after completion of 6 months from the end of practical training, wherein in the current scheme, student can appear for the final examination after completion of 2.5 years of practical training. So there is a difference here also. First you complete your entire training, उसके बाद ही आप एग्जाम दे सकते हो. यहाँ पे करंट सिनेरियो में 2.5 years जैसे आपका ट्रेनिंग कंप्लीट हो गया, the training is for 3 years. So 6 months you have to serve after appearing for your CA finals, and even after clearing as a chartered accountant, if you are successful in the CA final examination, provided that. So no preparatory leaves are required in the final examination after completion of 2.5 years of practical training. So this was a problem which was faced at CA Inter also. एक ग्रुप क्लियर हो गया, दूसरे ग्रुप के लिए छुट्टी चाहिए. CA फाइनल में भी हो गया कि हम तो अभी एक ही ग्रुप दे रहे हैं, दूसरी बार में सेकंड ग्रुप देंगे. तो अगेन देयर इज अ प्रॉब्लम. इफ यू आर अपियरिंग फॉर बोथ द ग्रुप्स एंड यू आर एबल टू क्लियर ओनली अ सिंगल ग्रुप, then again there is a problem. So in this new proposed scheme, there is no problem as such for availing any leaves because it will not be required. In the proposed scheme, though number of days of training will be reduced to a certain extent, however, the training will be continuous and more effective because students have already passed both groups of the intermediate and will be appearing in final examination after completion of training. So although the number of days have been reduced, the number of years have been reduced from 3 to 2, but it will be continuous and effective learning, because your focus will be on learning only, practical aspects of learning, what you have studied at your CA Inter. You will apply that, and you will not be bothered about your examination because there will be no examination. The examination will come only after you complete your 2 years of articleship, and then you have to wait for 6 months, and then you can appear for your CA final examination. So if you see the flow chart, register for foundation, appear for class 10+2. तो आप registration कब कर सकते हैं? Just after 10, but you will be able to appear for your CA foundation after 12. It is same in the current and the proposed scheme. Appear for foundation examination after 4 months from your registration. So it is same. Study for intermediate examination 8 months. Once you have cleared your foundation, then there has to be a gap of 8 months, and then you can appear for your CA Inter. Study for intermediate examination for 8 months, then you clear, and articleship in the current scheme it is 3 years. In the proposed, it is reduced to 2 years. After articleship, study for final examination. So in the current scheme, you are not getting any additional time for prepare for finals, because जैसे आपका articleship खत्म होगा उसी वक्त आप एक को एग्जाम देना है during your articleship. Now after your practical training in the proposed scheme, you get 6 months to dedicatedly study for your final examination. There is no worry about the training, वो खत्म हो चुकी है. उसके बाद 6 महीने मिलेंगे सिर्फ पढ़ने के लिए. Total period to become a ICAI member, CA member बनने के लिए कितना टाइम लगता है अभी? 48 months. That means 4 years. Now it will be 42 months. कितने महीने बच गए आपके? 6 months. That means one attempt you have saved. 6 months. Work experience for applying for COP. There is no work experience required currently. but in the coming scheme, proposed scheme, it is 1 year. You have to work for 12 months under a FCA for fellow chartered accountant, and then you can apply for your COP. So the above neither includes time taken for declaration of result nor waiting time before next exam called due. However, with the proposal to conduct online examination or more than 2 exams in a year, the time for result or next exam due would come down. So the institute is also coming up with conducting the exam in an online manner. So possibly you can see that in the coming years, there will be more than 2 examinations happening in a year. Abhi at present there are 2, it can be more than 2 coming forward. Now what we'll talk about the subject papers. What has changed in the syllabus or the content? So in the existing scheme, foundation has 4 papers, intermediate has 8 papers divided into 2 groups. Group 1 mein 4 paper hai, group 2 mein again you have 4 papers. And final examination also you have 8 papers divided into 2 groups, 4 in group 1 and 4 in group 2. In the proposed scheme, the foundation still have 4 papers. 4 paper hai foundation mein. Intermediate, now instead of 8 papers, you have to appear only for 6. तो 2 paper कम हो गए, है ना? Rather, I would say कि it is not reduced, but it is merged. You will see when we talk about the subjects and the topics, it is merged. So institute wants कि आपको ज़्यादा days तक exam face नहीं करना पड़े, कम exam हो लेकिन content उतना ही रखना, ठीक है? So now you have to appear for 3 papers in group 1 at CA intermediate level and 3 papers in group 2 at CA intermediate level. Then they have introduced the self-paced online modules 4 in between the inter and CA final. That means along with your practical training, you have to appear for the self-paced learning courses. And then you will be able to fight your CA final examination, which will again have 6 papers divided into 2 groups of 3 papers each. Now, when we talk about the papers, foundation level paper, the current papers were paper 1, principles and practice of accounting. In the proposed scheme, you have also the same paper, that is accounting. Paper 2 was business laws and business correspondence and reporting. Now, in the proposed scheme, it is only business laws because correspondence and reporting will be covered in your self-paced learning. Paper 3 remains same as business mathematics, logical reasoning and statistics. It is same and it is retermed as quantitative aptitude. Paper 4 is business economics and business and commercial knowledge. And here it is only business economics. This business and commercial knowledge will be forming part of your online self-paced learning. So paper 1, a portion from the subject accounting at intermediate level in the current CA course would be included in the proposed scheme so as to increase the standard of the foundation level. तो जो पेपर 1 फाउंडेशन का है अकाउंट्स का, उसमें कुछ टॉपिक्स इंटर से उठा के फाउंडेशन में शिफ्ट कर दिए गए हैं ताकि द स्टूडेंट गेट्स एन आइडिया एंड फील नहीं आ रहा है फाउंडेशन देख, वो फील आएगा इंटर का कि व्हाट इज द नेक्स्ट लेवल, ठीक है? तो कुछ टॉपिक्स हैव बीन शिफ्टेड फ्रॉम इंटर टू फाउंडेशन. Second, paper 2, business correspondence and reporting is not being separately included in the new course. Instead, to facilitate students with requisite communication skills, an online course would be launched on English and business communication, which would be recommended. Okay, matlab those who want to opt for it and can opt for it. It is recommended, not mandatory, but it is required because communication is inseparable from your academics. आपको आता है और आप प्रेजेंट नहीं कर पाते हो तो उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है आपको क्या आता है. So you should be able to express yourself, and because from this online courses you will be able to communicate well. Paper 2, a dedicated 100-mark descriptive paper against 60 marks paper in current CA course. So CA course में अभी foundation level पे the papers are divided into 2 parts, objective and descriptive. So 60 marks is descriptive and 40 marks are objective. But in the proposed scheme, It will be all 100 marks will be descriptive. In the law paper, paper 4, a dedicated 100 marks paper as against 60 marks paper in current CA course on business economics will be include topic from the subject economics from finance at the intermediate level in the current CA final course. So जैसे accounting में कुछ तड़का इन्होंने इंटर से लगाया, वैसे कुछ तड़का इकोनॉमिक्स में भी लगा दिया from the economics for finance. ठीक है, so you can feel that मसाले. Paper 4, student would get exposure of business and commercial knowledge as a part of their practical training in a more integrated manner and therefore excluded in the new course. So, जो commercial knowledge and business knowledge है, that will get in the practical training, so it has been removed from the entry level. Now we come to CA intermediate level. So there were 8 papers at present: accounting, advanced accounting, corporate laws, cost and management accounting, taxation, auditing and assurance, enterprise information system and strategic management, and financial management and economics from finance. Now, these papers are still there in the new proposed scheme, but you can see that 2 papers have been merged into one. So there can be a misconception when someone talks about the new scheme के पहले तो 8 ही पेपर थे, अब 6 ही रह गए हैं. पेपर कम हुए हैं लेकिन कंटेंट बढ़ गया है. ठीक है, उतना ही है इनफैक्ट. So paper 1 is advanced accounting. So accounting including advanced accounting is now paper 1. Paper 2 is corporate laws. So you can see there is no allied laws. Okay, only corporate law is there in paper 2. Paper 3 is cost and management accounting, which is same. Paper 4 is taxation, which is same. Paper 5 is accounting and code of ethics. And paper 7 has been removed. That is, there is no enterprise information system and strategic management. वो नहीं है. Okay, but it will appear in the self-paced learning modules. It will be there. And paper 8 is divided into 2 papers. 2 papers are merged now: financial management and strategic management. So that is paper 6 divided into 2 parts, 50 marks each. Any questions, anyone? Okay. Now, what about the self-paced online modules? There is something new to you all. आप लोग already दे चुके हैं, so it was not that relevant. It will be relevant for your juniors or those people who will be starting the CA journey now. But what about the self-paced learning modules? What they have introduced? What new the institute has brought in? So self-paced online learning modules encompassing different fields are being introduced, which student can learn and qualify at their own pace. So self-paced का मतलब क्या है? आप अपनी स्पीड से, अपने तरीके से, अपनी what you can say level of learning से इसको complete कर सकते हैं. There is no time duration, there is no foundation, but you have to complete it within 2 years of your articleship training. Because ये complete होने के बाद ही you can appear for your CA final examination. After qualifying intermediate examination and before writing final examination. So between the inter and CA final, you have to complete these self-paced online modules. Such creative combination of disciplines would inculcate cross-disciplinary thinking and facilitate innovative reasoning. So the objective is to build in cross-disciplinary thinking so that you can think beyond accounts, costing, taxation, FM. Okay. So what they have introduced is set A compulsory and set B is also compulsory. So in set A you have all these economic laws. So at CA Inter you had corporate laws and allied laws in the current scheme. In the proposed scheme at CA Inter you only have corporate laws. So allied laws कहाँ गया? वो self-paced learning में आ गया. And what are the laws that you have to study? That is FEMA, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, Preservation of Money Laundering, Competition Act, Securitization and Restructuring of Financial Asset, Enforcement of Security Interest Act, Real Estate Regulation and Development Act, and Prohibition of Benami Property Transaction Act. So these allied law will help you become a specialist. When you read all this law, you'll be able to decide in which area, in which domain you want to practice or work after qualifying as a chartered accountant. Set B, strategic cost management and performance evaluation. So where you will be learning about costing and financial management, performance evaluation. Then set C and set D, there you have different electives from which you have to select only one. So यहाँ पे क्या है? Specialization elective, that is risk management, integrated and sustainability reporting, government accounting and public finance, introduction to digital ecosystem and transformation, international taxation, arbitration, mediation and conciliation, forensic audit, financial services and capital markets, valuation, forex and treasury management. So you can see that the institute has gotten all the important domains from which a candidate, as per his interest, select what he wants to opt for. And when you read and clear your paper, self-learning paper, then you will be able to work on this after your CA final. And set D, anyone to be selected, incorporating multidisciplinary approach emphasized in the new education policy. So the new education policy wants you have multiple disciplinary. So if you are a chartered accountant, you don't know anything about science. If you are from science background, you don't know anything about commerce. So there is a problem. The engineers and doctors, they don't understand finances. So similarly, the chartered accountant, they don't understand the medical sciences. So the institute and the government have come up with multiple disciplinary learning. यहाँ पे आपके पास क्या options है? First, to learn about the Constitution of India. Second, psychology, including self-awareness. It is very important nowadays. So psychology वैसे जनरली आर्ट्स वाले स्टूडेंट्स का सब्जेक्ट होता है, ये जो ह्यूमैनिटीज लेता है वो साइकोलॉजी पढ़ता है. बट एज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट you can also opt to learn psychology, because you have to deal with humans and you have to understand how they think, what they are thinking, how they will react to the government regulations, what will be their psychology, how you can put forward any information with them. Then entrepreneurship, to include MSME in startups. So the next decade, 10 साल आने वाले जो आगे के साल हैं, वहाँ पे you will see, and you can still see that the number of startups have increasing, and there are a number of unicorns which are coming up. What is a unicorn? A company whose valuation is $1 billion company, and there is a startup, and then they take the shape of a unicorn. So as a chartered accountant, you will be required to guide people on how to start a startup. Because धीरे-धीरे you will see that more people will come into entrepreneurship. No one would like to work under someone. They will work just to gain the experience and learn things, how things work. Then they will collaborate with the like-minded people, and they will start up their own company, and they would like your services about how to work on that company, how to build it. Okay. Then communication to include advocacy and philosophy also. So you can see that many CAs have become artists, they have become writers, they have become film stars. Okay. So after becoming a chartered accountant, you can pursue your passion, or you can be good at something, but you can take it professionally also. So with this, the institute has come up with this multidisciplinary approach. Now we talk about the papers at CA final level. So paper 1 is financial reporting, which is same. Paper 2 is strategic financial management. It has been renamed as advanced financial management. Paper 3 is advanced auditing and professional ethics. It is same in proposed scheme also. Paper 4 was corporate and economic laws. Now it has been merged to a self-paced online module, mandatory module. That is set A and set B. Strategic cost and performance evaluation. ये भी कहाँ चला गया? Set B में. This we have seen recently. Set A and set B is paper 4 and 5 of your present course. Paper 7 was direct tax and international taxation. It is same as paper 4. And paper 8, indirect tax law, is paper 5, indirect tax laws. And the last is integrated business solution. So from the electives, set C and set D, उसमें से जो भी आप select करेंगे as per your interest, that will be your paper 6. And paper 6 will be an open book examination. So you can select from these 6 electives: risk management, financial services, international taxation, economic laws, global financial reporting standards, and multidisciplinary case study. Multidisciplinary case study is being made compulsory, and the same would be integrated with the strategic management. This paper is necessary to assess the student's ability to integrate the concept and provisions across different subject areas, analyze them and apply them in addressing issues and solving problems in a multidisciplinary case study involving strategic decision making. Now, imagine you have become a chartered accountant and an organization is looking to hire a CA. What they would like you from, what they will want from you. Whenever any organization is looking for a chartered accountant, vacancy है, तो वो उस candidate में क्या चाहेंगे कि that candidate should be a problem solver. He should be having the ability to integrate different knowledge from different areas and apply that knowledge to a particular case study and come out with a solution. Because हमें tax आता है, हमें audit आती है, हमें law आता है, हमें accounting आती है, but हमें ये नहीं आता कि इसको use कैसे करें. तो फिर जो भी आता है उसका कोई sense है या नहीं है? It doesn't make any sense because you are not able to put your knowledge to practical use. So this elective paper, this case study based paper will help you in learning how to apply the knowledge that you have gained from the different papers in one integrated manner. Because when a client approaches you, he will come with so many problems. किस business start करना है, consultancy start करनी है, startup करना है, resources कहाँ से आएंगे, कहाँ का registration लेना पड़ेगा, कौन-कौन से act applicable होंगे. If I work cross border, तो फिर क्या formalities होगी, अगर मुझे online काम करना है तो कैसे होगा. तो all these things you have to answer. ठीक है. अब आप वहाँ पे phone a friend नहीं कर सकते. ये topic तो मैं छोड़ के गया. I did not opt for this paper. Let me call my friend. You cannot do in front of the client this. ठीक है. You can take up his query and you can just say कि sir, I'll revert to you. और बाद में क्या करेंगे? Phone a friend. ये requirement है, क्या करना है? So इसीलिए multidisciplinary firms will work. You will have to work with people across the globe, across different disciplines and different interest areas and with experts. So this module will help you in doing that. Now we talk about the admission and examination. I hope everyone is clear about the structure of the course and the subject papers. Nothing have reduced, only they have consolidated the papers and the subject. So foundation level, as we have already discussed, is eligibility for admission in the proposed scheme. It is similar to the existing scheme, that is register with BOS after passing class 10 examination. तो जिसने 10वीं का एग्जाम दे दिया है, 10th का एग्जाम अपीयर कर दिया है, they can enroll themselves for the CA course. Validity of registration. Earlier, there were no restriction as to the validity. Now, the CA Foundation registration will be valid for 4 years. Eligibility for appearance in examination. So, what is the eligibility? That you appear for your class 12, wait for 4 months, then whichever is the latest or the nearest attempt, you can appear for that. As the institute have mentioned in the proposed scheme, that they will be conducting more than 2 examinations. They may be subject to the systems in place. So once the systems in place, the exams will be online, and there is a possibility, जैसे कि अभी 2 बार एग्जाम हो रहे हैं, उससे ज्यादा बार एग्जाम हो सकते हैं, ठीक है? So if a candidate is not able to clear foundation within 4 years of registration, he can opt for alternative direct route of entry and to intermediate course subject to fulfilling stipulated conditions. So it is but obvious कि आप 12th में हैं, आपने 12th के एग्जाम दिया, फाउंडेशन दिया, फाउंडेशन क्लियर नहीं हुआ, फिर दिया क्लियर नहीं हुआ, और ऐसा चलता रहा सिलसिला, ठीक है? और देखते देखते आप ग्रेजुएट हो गए, क्योंकि ग्रेजुएशन तो 3 साल में होती है, और यहाँ पे रजिस्ट्रेशन जो है वो 4 years तक वैलिड. So if you are not able to clear a foundation and you have stopped giving foundation, then what you can do is you can opt for direct entry. और फाउंडेशन रूट से नहीं जाके आप किस रूट से आ सकते हैं? डायरेक्ट एंट्री रूट से आ सकते हैं once you are a graduate. 4 months study period have been specified and cut off date, that is January and July, have been removed. तो पहले 1 जनवरी का कट ऑफ डेट था कि जनवरी से पहले जिसने रजिस्ट्रेशन करा लिया वो कमिंग अटेम्प्ट में दे सकता है, या जुलाई से पहले जिसने रजिस्ट्रेशन कराया वो नवंबर या दिसंबर जब भी एग्जाम हो सकते हैं दे सकता है, वो सब हटा दिया गया है. नाउ द क्राइटेरिया इज ओनली 4 months फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ एनरोलमेंट. So this will also enable holding a foundation exam more than 2 times in a year. Intermediate level eligibility for admission. So the direct entry route is also there, and the students who have cleared their CA foundation, they will be directly registered for CA intermediate course. Now, when we talk about direct entry, so proposed and existing, both the schemes have the same criteria. That is, commerce graduate or postgraduate with minimum 55% marks, or other graduates or postgraduate with minimum 60% of marks. So अगर किसी ने बीकॉम किया है या बीबीए किया है या मतलब कॉमर्स में ग्रेजुएट है, तो उसको 55% चाहिए मिनिमम स्कोर, तभी वो सीए में एंट्री ले सकता है. और अगर कोई और स्ट्रीम से आ रहा है, फॉर एग्जांपल ह्यूमैनिटीज और साइंस, देन दे रिक्वायर एटलीस्ट 60% score in their graduation or post graduation, then they can opt for CA course. Along with that, intermediate level pass candidates of Institute of Chartered Company Secretaries and Institute of Cost Accountants of India. So CMA and CS, जिसका CS इंटर हो गया है या CMA इंटर क्लियर हो गया है, वो डायरेक्ट CA इंटर में एडमिशन ले सकता है. Okay, once you have taken the admission, earlier the registration was valid for 4 years, और उसको आप रिवैलिडेट करा सकते थे. अभी यहाँ पर 5 years तक उसको वैलिडिटी को बढ़ा दिया गया, फ्रॉम 4 to 5 years, एंड रिवैलिडेशन विद प्रिस्क्राइब फी परमिटेड वंस. पहले रिवैलिडेशन क्या था? अनलिमिटेड टाइम. नाउ इट इज परमिटेड ओनली वंस. एलिजिबिलिटी फॉर अपीयर इन एग्जामिनेशन. सो डायरेक्ट एंट्री रूट से आ रहे हैं, फाउंडेशन से आ रहे हैं. व्हाट इज द एलिजिबिलिटी? दैट यू हैव टू वेट फॉर 8 months. तो 8 महीने पढ़ाई करें, and then you can appear for your CA intermediate examination. In the present case, the direct entry route the students coming from direct entry route has to complete minimum 9 months of practical training, but it is not so in the case of proposed scheme. Final level eligibility for admission. A student who has passed both the groups of intermediate and completed integrated course on information technology soft skills. तो फाइनल एग्जाम में एडमिशन के लिए दोनों ग्रुप का पास होना बहुत जरूरी है. सेकंड, जो भी आपका इंटीग्रेटेड कोर्स है सॉफ्ट स्किल्स का और इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी का, वो आपको कंप्लीट करना है, एंड देन यू कैन अपीयर फॉर योर सी फाइनल. अभी क्या होता है कि एनी वन ग्रुप अगर आपका पास हो गया, देन यू कैन अपीयर फॉर योर You can start your article, right? Validity for registration 10 years, revalidation with the prescribed fee permitted. तो यहाँ पे इंटरमीडिएट की जो वैलिडिटी जो 5 years थी, एक बार परमिटेड था रीवैलिडेशन, यहाँ पे 10 years वैलिडिटी पीरियड है सीए फाइनल, और उसके बाद आप अगेन इसको रिवैलिडेट करा सकते हैं, ठीक है। एग्जिस्टिंग में देयर इज नो रेस्ट्रिक्शन एज टू रिवैलिडेशन, देयर इज नो वैलिडिटी पीरियड। एलिजिबिलिटी फॉर अपीयरेंस इन फाइनल एग्जामिनेशन, तो फाइनल एग्जाम में अपीयर होने के लिए क्या क्या कंडीशंस फुलफिल करनी है? पहला, कंप्लीटेड एडवांस आईटीटी कोर्स एंड एमसीएस कोर्स। सेकंड, कंप्लीटेड 6 months आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ प्रैक्टिकल ट्रेनिंग बिफोर फर्स्ट डे ऑफ द मंथ इन विच एग्जामिनेशन इज हेल्ड। तो जैसे ही आपकी आर्टिकलशिप ट्रेनिंग कंप्लीट होती है, उसके बाद 6 months इज अ वेटिंग पीरियड, 6 महीने आपको वेट करना है। उसके बाद यू कैन अपीयर फॉर द एग्जामिनेशन, जिस महीने में हो रहा है उसके फर्स्ट डेट से आप 6 months काउंट करेंगे, ठीक है। सपोज योर आर्टिकलशिप इज गेटिंग ओवर इन मार्च, देन यू हैव टू वेट टिल सितंबर, और उसके बाद अगर एग्जाम अक्टूबर, नवंबर, दिसंबर कभी भी होते हैं, यू कैन अपीयर फॉर दीज एग्जामिनेशन। Other examination aspect, so this we have discussed, we'll just go through it. Number of papers, फाउंडेशन में पहले भी 4 थे, अभी भी 4। सीए इंटरमीडिएट में there were 8 papers divided to 2 groups, 4 paper each. Now it has reduced to 3 papers in each group and total 6 papers. तो पेपर मर्ज हो गए। At final level also there were 4 papers in the present scheme in both groups, so 8 paper total. Now it is 3 papers in each group and total 6 papers. Number of examination in the year, अभी at present there are 2 examinations which are happening in a year, 2 बार होते हैं, मई में और नवंबर में, या जून में और दिसंबर में। अब it is proposed that it will be 3 papers in a year subject to systems are in place. Medium of language is both हिंदी और इंग्लिश, so हिंदी मीडियम स्टूडेंट्स भी ऑप्ट कर सकते हैं कोर्स को, और इंग्लिश मीडियम स्टूडेंट्स भी कर सकते हैं। You can write your papers both in Hindi or in English. Now, what is the manner of assessment? So we'll talk about foundation, intermediate and final level. Existing foundation में there is a partly subjective and partly objective. तो MCQ पैटर्न पे भी पेपर आता है और डिस्क्रिप्टिव भी होता है। अभी क्या होगा? partly subjective and partly objective with negative marking of 25% for each wrong answers to MCQ. So they have introduced the negative marking at foundation level. In the objective portion, तो जो MCQs आएंगे उसमें 25% negative marking. Intermediate 30% case scenario, subject based MCQs and 70% descriptive in all the papers with negative marking of 25% for each wrong answer to MCQ. So this MCQ pattern is there at CA intermediate level also. 30% केस बेस्ड होगा, MCQs होंगे, और 70% डिस्क्रिप्टिव होगा, और जो 30% MCQ होगा उसमें नेगेटिव मार्किंग होगी 25%. That means if your 4 questions are wrong, 1 mark will be deducted. Final level also there is 30% case scenario based MCQs and 70% descriptive in all the papers with negative marking of 25% for each wrong answer to MCQ. तो जहां पे भी आप wrong आंसर कर रहे हैं, फाउंडेशन लेवल हो या इंटरमीडिएट लेवल हो या फाउंडेशन लेवल हो, MCQs में there is a negative marking of 25%. And why this negative marking has been kept? So that you do not apply any तुक्कास of fluke. नहीं तो नहीं आ रहा, आंख बंद करी, जय माता दी, एंड सी, ऑप्शन सी, ऑप्शन डी, चलो सी बहुत बार हो गया, अब डी करते हैं, डी बहुत बार हो गया, अब ए कर देते हैं, ठीक है। तो ये सब करने से अभी तक कोई मार्क्स नहीं डिडक्ट हो रहे थे, लेकिन अब डिडक्ट होंगे। सो यू हैव टू बी मोर स्पेसिफिक व्हेन यू आर आंसरिंग द MCQ बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस। फाइन। और उन्होंने लिखा भी है, what I am saying, they have mentioned that negative marking would prevent students from resorting to guesswork while answering questions They would strive to improve their presentation and hone their application skills in order to answer the MCQ-based paper. See, when you have to answer MCQ, you have to be specific. क्योंकि एक ही आंसर सही है, या तो सही होगा या वो गलत होगा. But when you write descriptive, तो कुछ चीजें आप ठीक लिखते हो, कुछ आप इधर उधर लिखते हो, तो कुछ मार्क्स मिल जाते हैं, कुछ नहीं मिलते. बट यहाँ पे क्या होगा, या तो you will get 1 या डायरेक्ट 0, or you can get -1 also. What is the pass percentage? So foundation existing, it is 40% in each paper and 50% in aggregate. तो हर पेपर में 100 नंबर में से आपको 40 लाने पास होने के लिए, और ऑन एन एग्रीगेट 400 में से 200 लाने. अभी क्या हो जाएगा इन द प्रपोज स्कीम कि इन ईच पेपर यू हैव टू गेट मिनिमम 50. 100 का पेपर हो रहा है, 50 नंबर हर में आने चाहिए, और एग्रीगेट भी कितना बनना चाहिए, टोटल 50. दैट मींस 400 में से मिनिमम 200 चाहिए पास होने के लिए, और हर पेपर में 50 नंबर चाहिए. इंटरमीडिएट लेवल ऑल्सो इट इज सेम, मतलब वहां पे 40% इन ईच पेपर एंड इन एग्रीगेट व्हाट इज 50%. At final also level also it is 40 marks in each paper and aggregate 50%. Suppose for self-paced online modules the minimum passing marks will be 50% in each module. तो ऑनलाइन जो एग्जाम होंगे उसमें आपको 50% लाना. Exemption. So existing, if a student secures 60% or more in paper in one attempt, exemption of such paper for intermediate 3 attempts is allowed and thereafter exemption will lapse. Exemption का मतलब क्या होता है कि आपने एक बार पेपर दिया, अटेम्प्ट किया, और किसी पेपर में आपके 60 से ज्यादा मार्क्स आ गए और बाकी पेपर में आपका 50 नहीं बन पाया या एग्रीगेट नहीं बना, आपका 40 मार्क्स नहीं आए. सो नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन यू अपीयर फॉर द एग्जाम, तो जिस पेपर में 60 आया है वो आपको नहीं देना होता. दैट इज व्हाट इज मेंट बाय एग्जेम्पशन. It is in the current scenario exemption is allowed up to 3 attempts. मतलब एक बार दिया एग्जेम्पशन आ गई, उसको आप 3 अटेम्प्ट तक यूज में ले सकते हो. 3 अटेम्प्ट बाद वो लैप्स हो जाएगी. What is they have proposed in the current proposed scheme? If the student secures 60% or more in the paper in one attempt, exemption of paper will for immediate 3 attempts is allowed. That is same. Thereafter मतलब 3 अटेम्प्ट तक तो अवेलेबल है, उसके बाद क्या होगा, exemption paper will be treated as permanently passed and student has to score 50% to pass in the remaining paper individually. तो इसका डिफरेंस समझना बहुत जरूरी है यहाँ पर. आई होप यू हैव गॉट द मैसेज. एग्जाम्पशन से क्या होता है कि अगर मेरे किसी में 70 मार्क्स आ गए हैं और मैं रिमेनिंग 3 पेपर में 40 ले आता हूँ, तो व्हाट इज द टोटल, 190. You're not able to pass. What if you get 40 and 50, you'll be able to pass क्योंकि 20 का सरप्लस है उधर, तो आपका 200 बन जाएगा. बट अगर आपका एग्जाम्पशन आ रखा है और 3 अटेम्प्ट निकल चुके हैं, उसके बाद वो जो एग्जाम्प्टेड पेपर है उसको परमानेंटली पास माना जाएगा. मतलब उसमें आपने कितना भी स्कोर किया हो, इट विल बी ट्रीटेड एज 50 ओनली, और रिमेनिंग पेपर्स में आपको 50 लाना पड़ेगा so as to clear the group. Okay, now we'll talk about the other practical aspect. So commencement of practical training after passing both groups of intermediate and completion of ITT. This is proposed. Existing में क्या होता है कि या तो फाउंडेशन पास कर लें, फाउंडेशन एग्जाम पास करने के बाद ITT कोर्स करना होता है, and then you can start your intermediate. CRET institute में after registering in the intermediate course and completion of ITT, you can start your practical training. Duration in the current scenario it is 3 years of training, and यहाँ पे क्या कर दिया, 2 कर दिया है. Leaves, which is a cause of concern for many, I can see. क्योंकि छुट्टियां तो हमें बनती है लेना, एग्जाम्स आते हैं, छुट्टियां होती हैं, ऐसा. तो 1/7 लीव मिल रही थी, यहाँ पे ओनली 24 लीव्स इन 2 years टाइम पीरियड. So practical training to commence only after passing both groups of intermediate in order to have exam free and seamless effective training where a student can focus completely on his practical training. So इसलिए उन्होंने बोला है कि दोनों ग्रुप एक साथ पास करो, फिर सिर्फ ट्रेनिंग पे ध्यान दो. In order to ensure examination free. So यहाँ पे एग्जाम नहीं होगा ट्रेनिंग के बीच में, ट्रेनिंग खत्म होने के बाद ही एग्जाम्स होंगे. Period of 2 years has been reduced. The student can appear in final examination after completion of 6 months from the end of practical training. So once you have completed your training, 6 महीने के बाद आप final CA के लिए appear कर सकते हैं. Now we talk about industrial training. So in the existing scheme, you can register for industrial training in the last 9 to 18 months of your practical training. So total you have 3 years. 3 years में कितने महीने होते हैं? 36. 36 में से 18 months के बाद आप industrial training के लिए जा सकते हैं. That means 1.5 year you can do a training under a chartered accountant. 1.5 year you can do industrial training. और मिनिमम 9 months का कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पे इन्होंने बोला है फ्रॉम द लास्ट 9 to 12 months यू कैन स्टार्ट योर इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग. तो सिमिलरली यहाँ पे 3 साल का 1.5 साल इंडस्ट्रियल हो सकता था, यहाँ पे 2 का 1 साल इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग हो सकता है. व्हाट अबाउट ट्रांसफर्स? सो दिस इज अगेन टॉपिक व्हिच इज इन डिमांड बाय द स्टूडेंट्स. कैसे ट्रांसफर का क्या होगा? वी हैव टेकन अ आर्टिकलशिप अंडर 1 CA. नाउ व्हाट हैपन इफ यू वांट टू स्विच? अभी जैसे मोबाइल फोन में पोर्टेबिलिटी आ गई, इधर से उधर, उधर से इधर, जहां अच्छा लगे वहां, ठीक है. बट यहाँ पे वो पोर्टेबिलिटी है या नहीं है, ये व्हाट अबाउट द ट्रांसफर? सो इन द करंट स्कीम, आर्टिकल सो एंगेज मे बी बाय एग्रीमेंट बिटवीन द आर्टिकल असिस्टेंट एंड हिज प्रिंसिपल बी टर्मिनेटेड अंडर सच एक्सेप्शनल सर्कमस्टेंसेस और कंडीशन एज मे बी डिसाइडेड बाय द काउंसिल. सो देयर आर सम सर्कमस्टेंसेस, सम कंडीशंस. उन कंडीशंस को फुलफिल करके, और जब म्यूचुअल एग्रीमेंट होगा प्रिंसिपल और आर्टिकल के बीच में, तभी आप क्या कर सकते हैं, एक दूसरे से सेपरेट हो सकते हैं. ठीक है, मतलब यू कैन टर्मिनेट योर आर्टिकलशिप एंड यू कैन स्टार्ट विद समवन एल्स. बट प्रपोज स्कीम में क्या बोला है? ड्यूरिंग द सेकेंड ईयर ऑफ ट्रेनिंग द टर्मिनेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल कैन बी परमिटेड इफ द आर्टिकल असिस्टेंट ऑप्ट फॉर इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग or under such exceptional circumstances or condition as may be decided by the council. So that means you have to take the permission of the council if you are not going for industrial training but you want to change your principal. तो कुछ terms and conditions होंगी, उसके बाद council decide करेगा कि आप terminate कर सकते हैं या नहीं कर सकते. What about the stipend? पैसा कितना मिलेगा? So we are going for articleship, we are working. So what is the money that we are going to get? So what they have mentioned is existing slab has been indicated in the table beneath regulation 48(1). तो आप इंस्टीट्यूट का एक्ट पढ़ेंगे, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट एक्ट, उसका रेगुलेशन 48(1) में बता रखा है कि क्या स्टाइपेंड मिलता है. तो जितना स्टाइपेंड उस टेबल में लिखा है उसका 2 गुना, that is 100 times they have increased the stipend. So there has been a 100% increase in the stipend presently paid to the article assistant. So it has been doubled. So in cities like Ajmer, you're getting, suppose if you are getting 2,000 per month, then it will be 4,000. So consequent with the change in the duration of the practical training, industrial training would be permitted in the last leg of the practical training for the period of 9 months to 12 months. Since industrial training is permitted in the last 9 to 12 months of practical training, period of 2 years, the requirement for transfer has been accordingly modified. ठीक है, तो जैसे आपका ट्रेनिंग का पीरियड कम हुआ है तो ट्रांसफर की कंडीशंस भी चेंज कर दी. IT training and soft skill courses. So there are 2 types of training. One is advanced ITT and one is IT ICS. So before commencement of practical training, you have to do one training. Soft skill जो आप अभी OC बोलते हैं जिसको, वो IC कहलाएगी. And this advanced ITT, that will be during the 2 years of practical training, but before the final examination. So along with your self-paced learning, you have to ensure that you complete your advanced ITT also. Level of courses to ICIT-SS and AICTI-SS. Duration as decided by the council from time to time. अब उसका duration क्या होगा? At present it is like 15 days. and advanced ITT you have for 7 days. So it can be similar or it can be different also, as decided by the council. Now exit route, मतलब कहाँ फंस गए, बाहर निकलना है, ठीक है. If you are not able to complete your CA, then how you can come out, ठीक है. तो जैसे वो चक्रव्यूह में घूम जाते हैं ना, तो बाहर कैसे निकलना है, ठीक है. So this is the exit route. But let me tell you, once you have taken up this course, the CA course, you should complete and then only quit. Before completion, you should never quit, because you will regret this during the lifetime. If you are not completing your CA and you're quitting, so you are going to regret, because as a chartered accountant, what benefit you get, you might not get by not continuing with this course. So it might take you a little longer, एक attempt, 2 attempt ज़्यादा लग सकते हैं, but stick to that course, be dedicated, be honest with regard to studies and training, and complete this course. And you will remember me, क्या सर ने ऐसा कुछ बोला, ठीक है. चलिए. So still I am telling you what is the exit route. So existing a candidate who has opted for the accounting technician level can be declared to have passed in that level if he either passes either of the group. मतलब CA intermediate student जिसका कोई भी एक ग्रुप पास हुआ है, प्लस उसने OC कंप्लीट कर लिया है और प्रैक्टिकल वर्क एक्सपीरियंस ले लिया है of not less than 12 months. So there are 3 criteria to become an accounting technician. That means either group should be cleared, second your OC should be completed, and third you should have completed 12 months of practical training. Then you can apply for this accounting technician in the current scheme. It will be called as a business accounting associate. See, accountant or chartered accountant, there is a huge gap. ठीक है. तो बिजनेस अकाउंटिंग एसोसिएट आप कहलाओगे, मतलब व्हाट यू विल बी ऑफर्ड, you will be looked at as an accountant only, but once you qualify as a chartered accountant, you will be looked as a chartered accountant. So a candidate would be awarded for the certificate of business accounting associate on the fulfillment of following criteria. That is, if you have passed both the groups of intermediate exam, दोनों ग्रुप पास करना यहाँ पे जरूरी है. वहाँ पे एक भी ग्रुप से काम चल रहा था, but you have to clear both the groups here. Second, complete your practical training. That means 2 years of practical training you have to complete. Third, complete the soft skill and information technology courses. And fourth, qualify for the 4 self-paced learning modules. तो अब क्या रह गया, बस फाइनल्स. सो फाइनल एग्जाम को छोड़ के बाकी सब करना है आपको. If you want to be qualified as a business accounting associate, तो जब वहां तक पहुंच गए हैं तो इससे अच्छा है कि फाइनल देके एंड फाइनली कर लें. अब ये सर्टिफिकेट होल्डर would possess the requisite accounting and technology skills, since he would have qualified both the groups of intermediate examination, undergone the stipulated 2 years of articleship training, completed the soft skills and information technology courses, and qualified the 4 self-paced online modules. This would cater to the needs of the industry by providing quality accounting and financial support staff and help the student in building his career. So if you're not able to complete your CA but you complete your BAA, that is business accounting associate, then also you will have a lot of opportunities to work as an accountant, or you can work as an assistant to the CEOs. Now, certificate of practice. So we have already discussed it again. We don't have to discuss. But after clearing your CA final, you have to work under a chartered accountant, a fellow chartered accountant for 12 months, and then you will be able to apply for COP. And why it is required? So that you understand the integrities and the practical aspect of doing a practice. Now, we talk about the international curriculum. What has been introduced in this course? So eligibility criteria: to build global ready chartered accountants by equipping them with the requisite competencies, taking brand India and ICAI along the global across the globe by launching the international curriculum especially where no professional accounting body exists or where accountancy profession is in the nascent stage of development. So they have introduced this international curriculum also, which will help you to pursue your careers in the globally, that is countries beyond India. International curriculum of ICAI with its designated features emphasizes positioning CA qualification of ICAI as a global qualification to meet the demand for accountancy professional outside India. Now you will see many people going to Dubai and UAE and maybe Australia, Canada, USA, and settling over there. So you can be one of them if you qualify this international curriculum. Common curriculum for domestic and international students with the exception of country-specific papers, virtual soft skills and information technology training. Candidate residing outside India may undergo practical training under eligible members of accounting bodies outside India recognized by International Federation of Accountants. So this course is in with integration with the accounting bodies overseas. So once you do this international curriculum, you will be qualified enough to work in the different countries. So now with this, we have discussed all the important aspects of the proposed scheme of education and training. And now we'll see some of the important links and contacts. So this notification, if you want to see, you can check out the notification. There is an announcement also. This online feedback link is there. Then these are the resource person, board of director, Ma'am Vandana Nagpal is there. You can write any email to her also, or you can contact the vice chairman, board of studies, Vishal Doshi, or the chairman, board of studies, CA Dayansi Sharma. Okay, and now I'm showing you the feedback form. Now see why it is important to give your feedback, because we have just discussed about this course and this is the proposal. So before the proposal get implemented and yet you get to see this course, if you want some things should be changed और ये चीज ठीक है, ये ठीक नहीं लग रहा है, या इसमें ऐसा होना चाहिए, वैसा होना चाहिए, तो जो भी आपके अंदर थॉट्स हैं, आइडियाज हैं या डाउट्स हैं, you want to get some clarification, you can give your feedback to the board of studies via this form, and the board of studies will read all the feedbacks. They will go through the different feedbacks, and while implementing this course, this proposed scheme, if they consider that these particular feedbacks are important and necessary, they will definitely take into consideration these feedbacks and they will accordingly modify and launch this course. Okay, so there are different steps. You just need to fill in your name, your gender, your age group, your category. You're a student, so you'll use student category. So when you select a student, they'll ask you which level, foundation, intermediate or final. Then you have to write your CRO number. And as mentioned by Anil Yadav sir, the SICASA chairman, need not be worried about your CRO, mentioning your CRO. कि हमारा नाम नंबर दे दिया हमने और हमने कुछ ऐसा फीडबैक दे दिया तो क्या होगा, कुछ नहीं होगा. So rest assured, you have a power to deliver your thoughts across the members of the institute and across the decision maker, so that they can read your feedback and they can take the decision accordingly. So there is a OTP verification also. You have to put in your mobile number and email address, and accordingly you can just browse through this form and fill it. So there are different levels. They have asked the feedback for each and every aspect of this proposed scheme. See, it is a huge change that is going to come. So whenever there is a change, it can bring something good or it can be difficult to digest also. ठीक है, इसलिए हर एक एस्पेक्ट पे उन्होंने क्वेश्चंस पूछे हैं, आपसे फीडबैक मांगा है. So you can just browse through these forms and different levels, and I would request everyone to give your feedback so that your message goes to the persons who will be taking who will be deciding on this, and maybe some of the important feedbacks can see changes happening in this proposed scheme also. So thank you all for listening to me patiently and understanding this new proposed scheme of the institute which the Board of Studies have come up with. And now if anyone wants to ask any question, then you are free to. You are most welcome. Anyone? Yes. Which subject? Open book. So the selective papers will be from the open book. I'll just share the screen again and I'll show you whatever elective papers you are taking, the case study based, that will be open book. So what happens in the open book also is that you don't have to remember any stuff. आपको याद नहीं रखना है, आपको provisions याद नहीं रखने, sections याद नहीं रखने. You can refer to the provisions or the section. But what is the challenge is you should know what to refer. आपको पता होना चाहिए कि क्या केस स्टडी में पूछा गया है और इसमें कौन सा सेक्शन या कौन सा एक्ट या कौन सा प्रोविजन अप्लाई हो रहा है. उसके लिए बुक विल बी मेड अवेलेबल टू यू, राइट. सो व्हाट यू हैव आस्क्ड मी, सेट सी एंड सेट डी कैन बी मेड ओपन बुक. सो यहाँ पे आप जो भी सब्जेक्ट इलेक्टिव लेते हैं, इट इज देयर इन द CS course at professional level. They are allowing one paper as a open book examination where you can take your book and there is a case study. So there is no copy pasting. ऐसा नहीं कि क्वेश्चन आया और आपने फटाफट चैप्टर खोला, पेज निकाला और लिखना चालू कर दिया. देख, it is not like that. Open book is not like that. Open book concept is like that. You can refer the book to find out any provision, to look at the provision, but your brain should tell you what provision should look at. Because after becoming a chartered accountant, there are so many acts, so many clauses, so many laws, so many case studies. You cannot remember everything. So you have to keep on reading and referring to the material. But you should be trained in such a way that you should know what to refer. कहाँ पे क्या चीज ढूंढनी है जो कि उस केस स्टडी को हेल्प करेगा, वो चीज आपको ओपन बुक से मिलेगी. Any other question?
हाँ, ये पढ़ाइए बेटा, पढ़ाइए.
So you can see the prospects are coming in. Some kids are also looking what is there in the CA course. Yes. Any more questions? Or can we have some feedback? आपको क्या लग रहा है? Like you have seen, you are listening to me from last 90 minutes or so. So from the entire thing that I have discussed, where you can see that the institute will be in the coming years and your future will be. Yes. Anyone? Ananya? Yes. Stand up. Yeah.
We won't be limited to India at night. We can be able to go outside to pick our population. And as you can see, the population level has become tougher. So what I think that making the entry to tougher will somewhere lead to less people coming into the course. So it will get more tougher course. So the supply of steel will be
very good. So what she mentioned is that as the course will become tough from the very beginning, foundation level, it will filter the students who are not serious or who are just trying their luck at foundation level. So those who are serious and they seriously want to become something in life, only those students will be allowed to continue forward. Yes. Any other feedback or any question? Anyone? Yes.
Something which really greatly that I heard you. Taking only 24 weeks, 24 years of data, we start because becoming from Google only takes 10 to 15 days, so this should be amended. However, companies go at inter level only. I don't think I think the difficult to overlook it when we become CA and go into the market. There is a lot of amendments. We have to again go through everything from the graduate. Moreover, self-team, self-paced, multiple finding, quite complete. It should not be exhaustive. It should have more obstacle area for the kind of important opportunity, but very serious over media and journalism side for them. There should be a provision. It should be more options should be available. Transfer should be normalized. It should be made more. I had expectation from the college that transfer within online, I don't find any solution that is before the court submits the money and just love the answer for the administrative that way started to be normalized. At the last, within I feel that is designed in such a way which makes the course more compact and will make difficult for the students to pursue more simultaneous like long and CMS. It is somewhat making it more compact. We are contacting it in terms of practical training, and using the software time.
Okay. So round of applause for him. What's your name? Saurabh. Okay. Now he has raised some genuine concern. One is regarding the leaves that in COVID it takes 10-15 days to recover. So I think the institute will consider this thing, and there will be some medical leaves more on basis of medical also, and you might have to attach some reports or something like that so that they can check the genuinity of the leave that you are asking for. And definitely studying corporate laws at the CA inter level and not at the CA final level can be a barrier. But what I feel is when you pursue your training and you are working with the CA and you are working with a corporate or industrial training, then all those what you have studied is getting covered. And in the self-paced learning module also, you are going to learn about the allied laws like FEMA and all. So basically, you have to keep in touch with the companies at provision also. So corporate law, although it is not introduced at the CA final level, but you will have to keep on reading it. And you mentioned that the course has become compact. I take it in a positive manner. So if the course is compact and you are becoming a chartered accountant in a lesser time, then you have the opportunity to pursue different courses also. Because nowadays multiple degree holders are getting a good placement and better promotions. So once you're qualified as a chartered accountant, then you can look for doing a CFA or any other journalist course or any other specialized course. So learning is a never-ending process, and it should be taken like that only. And you should, by the time you are till age 80, 85 also, then also you should keep on learning. So I say that सीखना बंद तो जीतना बंद. So सीखते रहे, पढ़ते रहे, and progress करते रहे. So that is a message for my side to all the students and all the participants who are attending this program virtually. And now over to the Secretary of Ajmer Branch, Anshulji.
Thank you, आलोक सर. मैं अब अखिलेश शर्मा जी से निवेदन करूंगा कि वो वोट ऑफ थैंक्स एंड कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क. अखिलेश जी. शायद अखिलेश जी सुन नहीं रहे हैं. मैं अजमेर ब्रांच और किशनगढ़ ब्रांच की तरफ से आलोक सर, सिकासा चेयरमैन CIRC अनिल यादव जी और ऑल द पार्टिसिपेशन जो भी बच्चे इसमें सम्मिलित हुए डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली, उन सभी का धन्यवाद देता हूँ। और साथ ही आप सबसे निवेदन करता हूँ कि आप लोग जितना, चाहे आप किसी भी तरीके से इसका फीडबैक दे सकते हैं वो दे, जो भी आपको लग रहा है इसमें, जो भी आपको अभी समझ में आया, और कोई भी क्वेरी हो वो आप ब्रांच में सबमिट कर सकते हैं। आपकी बात इंस्टीट्यूट तक पहुंचाना हमारा दायित्व है, हम पहुंचाएंगे उसको। तो आप सब इसको फीडबैक फॉर्म को भरे, देखे, एक बार इसको समझे, और जो भी आपको लग रहा है, चाहे अच्छा लग रहा है, बुरा लग रहा है, कुछ भी लग रहा है, वो आप उसका फीडबैक जरूर दें। थैंक यू आलोक सर, आपने बहुत ही अच्छे से इसको समझाया, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू अंशु जी, और थैंक यू एवरीवन।
सर एक बात मैं और ऐड करना चाहूँगा। अब हम CA की तैयारी में लगे हुए हैं, और जल्दी आपको उसकी डिटेल भी आपको ग्रुपों के माध्यम से मिल जाएगी। आप जितना हो सकता है उसमें पार्टिसिपेशन करें। कई सारी एक्टिविटी इंस्टीट्यूट अभी आने वाले 10 दिनों में ब्रांच लेवल पे कराने वाला है, उसमें जितना हो सकता है उसमें आप पार्टिसिपेट करें। अभी हमने अप्रैल में एक कार्यक्रम कराया था, उसमें इंस्टीट्यूट का नेशनल लेवल पर अजमेर से हमने स्टूडेंट को यहाँ से इंस्टीट्यूट के खर्चे पे फ्लाइट के माध्यम से रायपुर भेजा है बच्चे को। तो आपको भी ये सौभाग्य मिल सकता है, तो जितना हो सकता है उसमें भाग लो आप अभी आने वाले कार्यक्रम में। और हमने सिकासा ग्रुप बनाए हुए हैं, उसमें कई बार हम बच्चों को ऐड करते हैं, वो लेफ्ट हो जाते हैं। इंस्टीट्यूट की जानकारी, इंस्टीट्यूट क्या एक्टिविटी करवा रही है, उसकी जानकारी के लिए ये ग्रुप बनाए हुए हैं, ताकि आपको ये ध्यान रहे कि इंस्टीट्यूट में क्या चल रहा है। मतलब हमारे समय में हमको ये दिक्कत आती थी कि इंस्टीट्यूट हमारे लिए कुछ नहीं करता है, जबकि जब आफ्टर CA हमें जब पता चला कि कई एक्टिविटी इंस्टीट्यूट लेवल पे होती है, हमारी हर बात को सुना जाता है, तब हमें लगा कि यार काश हम भी उस समय जुड़ पाते इन चीज़ों से। तो अब आपको हम मौका दे रहे हैं, इन चीज़ों से जुड़े। आपकी कोई भी प्रॉब्लम हो, जेन्युइन प्रॉब्लम होनी चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं है कि सर हमारे को IT में सर हमको छुट्टी नहीं दे रहे हैं इस तरह की, या OC में हमको सर छुट्टी नहीं दे रहे हैं, जल्दी जाना है, इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम नहीं। जो जेन्युइन प्रॉब्लम हो आपकी, आप उस पर पोस्ट कीजिए। आलोक सर जैसे पढ़ा रहे हैं, अदर फैकल्टी अगर कोई आपको अच्छा लग रहा है, नहीं लग रहा है, कोई भी फैकल्टी का फीडबैक अगर आपको देना है, वो भी आप उस पर ग्रुप में डाल सकते हैं, शेयर कर सकते हैं। हर चीज की जेन्युइन जो प्रॉब्लम होगी उसकी सुनवाई होगी। तो आप सबसे निवेदन है कि आप ज्यादा से ज्यादा इंस्टीट्यूट की गतिविधियों में भाग ले अभी आने वाली एक्टिविटी में। इसी के साथ मैं सभी का धन्यवाद दूंगा। थैंक यू सर। और कोई भी क्वेरी हो तो आप पूछ सकते हैं इंस्टीट्यूट लेवल पे। अभी और भी आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही हो तो वो आप आलोक सर को बता सकते हैं, हमारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव वहाँ हैं अभी। उसके अलावा आप ब्रांच में मुकेश जी या पंकज जी को आप बता सकते हैं। ठीक सर, थैंक यू।
ओके, थैंक यू।